Here we are in Africa, in the capital of Rwanda, Kigali, and I'm with Angie, and we are at an impact summit here to talk about legacy and what we can do to improve people's lives and also lasting impact going forwards from here. So it's great to meet you here, Angie.
Yeah, you too.
I've had a wonderful experience, and tell me about your own experience here.
Yeah, so coming back to East Africa, this is actually the place where my mother was born, in Nairobi, so it's been really good to kind of explore this part of the world. I'm originally come from Australia, so far from home. Yeah.
Well, we also have something in common then, in that you have your experience in Kenya and Nairobi, and it was the first place that I visited as a teenager to come to Kenya in 1985.
Yep.
What we've also discovered is that we are doing a life book with our mothers. And I know for me that's been a very personal experience. It's been very challenging. It's also been exceptionally rewarding. So tell me a little bit more about your experience with working with your mother on her life book.
Yeah, so I guess it's a somewhat different experience. I've been quite removed from the experience. As I said, I've recently moved to West Africa to live and work, and have left behind my aging parents in Australia. And I've heard about the life book and the process that it involved, and I thought this would be a really good opportunity to find out more about these stories from my mother and her time growing up and her childhood in Africa. So that's what prompted me to initiate the whole process.
Yeah, yeah. Well, similarly to you, I was prompted by the founder of LifeBook, Roy, to really look into how I could help tell the story of my mother's life, which is, by her own account, she considers to be quite a simple life, but of course is quite complex. And so it's been for me, I think I'm slightly ahead of where you're at with working with your mother on the LifeBook. We're almost now at the printing stage with my mother, and I found it, as I said, challenging, rewarding, incredibly emotional as well. But I can absolutely say it's one of the best things I've ever done in my life.
Yeah.
And even talking about it now makes me feel quite emotional about it.
And what are some of the things that you've discovered?
So, what have I discovered about my mother that I didn't know is that I knew that she'd had early trauma in her life with losing her own mother at the age of 10. And we have also had other direct family trauma as we've gone through our life. And so she has had to contend with that as a daughter and also as a mother. And what I really discovered was that she is almost 90 years old now, and that she's coming to the end of her life, but she has a very positive outlook on life despite that challenge and that trauma. And so it's given me lessons in life about extending, if you like, forgiveness to circumstances around you, and also really embracing the notion of powerful love and love for her family and those people around her. And so that's been one of my big takeaways, is from somebody that's had some real challenges in her life.
Yeah.
She still has a really strong, positive heart.
Yeah, wow, that's amazing.
Well, tell me about your own mother's story. I mean, it's partly written, but you will have your own experiences growing up as well, which will come out in the book.
Yeah, so as I said, I've been quite removed from the process, so living over here, and I've just let the process continue remotely. But I know my mother was quite reluctant initially to get involved, and when we told her what was going on, and she said, no, I don't want any part of it. But then, with a little bit of gentle coaxing, I think it was very easy for her to open up. And she's someone who, within 5 minutes of meeting someone, the story of when I was in Africa will come out. And so that's what I really wanted to bring out. I wanted to hear the details of the story. And so I haven't yet to find out all of those details, yet to read any of the proofs, but I'm looking forward to the final copy. And in fact, after this conference here in Kigali, we're going to retrace her steps. So following her family's journey from Dar es Salaam to Tanga to Mombasa back to Nairobi, where she was born almost 84 years ago next month.
That's incredible. That's incredible. So I've been doing the LifeBook for my mother, based out of the UK, and the process that we've gone through is working with a local interviewer in the UK, which has been, I've seen it live and myself, and it's been an incredibly fascinating process to understand how this goes about. But I think you've been doing it on a completely different continent. So tell us about that, Angie.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, I've left my parents behind in Australia, in Sydney, and have been working and living remotely for them for the first time in pretty much my life. I'm born and raised in Sydney, so I had a bit of anxiety leaving aging parents on another continent across the other side of the world, and that was one of the prompts to initiate this process. And surprised to find there were actual interviewers, very highly skilled, trained, based out of Sydney, who would come to Mum's house, have a cup of tea, coffee, go through her just sit and listen. And I think that's nothing that really gelled well with my mum, and she talks about Melissa as if she's a family friend now. Melissa's coming over next week, and they have a big long chat, and so that's what the process has been like. So I've just been hearing about it remotely.
I think like what Angie has said is that I know my mother initially was very hesitant to begin the process, but now that we started, I found it to be a very easy process. The interviewers have been fabulous, incredibly easy to work with, incredibly patient as well. And through that process, not just what I've taken away from the book and what I've learned about my mother, but also one of the most significant things is what the memories that it's drawn back from my mother, both in the recollections that she's been able to bring back into the present, but also the photography that we've screened through hours of looking through boxes and photo albums and so on. And that's been a real joy, not just for me, my brother, the grandchildren, but also for my mother as well. And I think that's really helped her with the stage she's at in life now.
Yeah, it's a good opportunity to sort of chronicle all of those photos that are buried away in boxes in the garage and bring them out and sort of put some meaning behind the photographs.
So I can't wait. I'm receiving the final printed copies in about 3 weeks' time, and I've been through the final manuscript, and that was a joy to read, and really reaffirmed to me just how important this has been and essential this has been. So I can't wait to see the copies in under a month's time, and celebrate and share it with my mother. This is going to be one of the greatest treasures that we have in the family.
Wow. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to. It's still a few months away. I think we're in the final stages of the proofs, and so for me it'll be a complete surprise what she's uncovered, what my mother has said, because I've been not that closely involved in the process, but looking forward to going back to Australia and seeing the book in real life.